Guys, Miss Curry's here. So just wanting to make sure that we're clear on what I'm looking for when you're answering your questions on a source such as this with the Magna Carta, which we already did. Again, I want to point out in history, it is very, very important that with everything that you do, you always cite the evidence. So you always have to assume that you're looking to cite the evidence from the source, okay? So, for question number 1, it states, what was the purpose of the Magna Carta and why was it important? And so again, here, just like you would as if you were making your own argument, you really want to make sure that you restate almost what the question was. So my response for something like this would be, the main purpose of the Magna Carta was to limit the king's power. Okay? And so I would make sure that I'm clear in restating what the question was. All right? And so for me, I think that it's really important to understand that they're doing this because back in the background here, it said that it was required in the Middle Ages that the kings be willing to share their power to prevent despotism. Okay, but King John was very much about his own person. So on June 15, 1215, the English nobility forced him to recognize Magna Carta, the Great Charter, which reaffirmed their traditional rights and personal liberties that are still enshrined in England today. And so this established a constitutional monarchy in England, okay? And so we want to talk about that. In 1215, to ensure individual or protection of individual freedoms. The nobles, again, we're kind of paraphrasing it, forced King John to sign the Magna Carta. And so because I paraphrased this, I still need to note where in the source I got it from. So I'm putting a parenthetical citation. Okay? And so the main purpose of the Magna Carta was to limit the king's power. In 1215, to ensure protection for individual freedoms, the nobles forced King John to sign the Magna Carta. This established a limited monarchy and gave the power to the people. And this is why it's important. Okay? So when I'm saying a parenthetical citation, this is what I'm looking for. If we were answering a different question, for example, let's move to question number 2. What are some of the basic rights that the Magna Carta guaranteed? We would want to ensure that we talk about that no one should be imprisoned. So that may be, again, something that you want to talk about. The Magna Carta ensured several basic rights. Many of these were essential to protecting individual freedoms, such as, and then we can actually quote it, okay, that no scutage or taxes shall be passed without approval from the council. So in this instance, this would be in roughly paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4. So we would put paragraph 4. Also, we can go and look that no sheriff or bailiff or anyone else shall take horses or wagons from free man except without permission from that free man. And so we would literally put that right here. And we would then note which paragraph. We could count them out, right? Paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that would be paragraph 9. And then we would wrap it up, right? So we want to ensure that we talk about the fact these provisions guaranteed that the king and his officials could not violate freedoms or make laws without consent of the people. Okay, and so this really shows us that we understand what it is. So here you have, again, just a basic claim, right? Essentially, that this had several things that it did, okay? And then here we have our evidence with our citations. And then lastly, we're wrapping it up, talking about why this is significant. So we're justifying why our evidence supports our claim, essentially. And so you should see this very easily with every question that you answer. Okay? It's going to all look the same. So you should have 3 parts minimum when you're answering your questions. Okay? So make sure that when you're doing this, you should be able to identify all of these parts. And you also need to understand that lastly, and most significantly, your parenthetical needs to follow immediately, right after your quote or paraphrase. Okay? It follows it and it goes straight into your text. So again, any questions as you're answering these, make sure you ask me or your teachers. Thank you.